Have you seen any of these fun sleeves hanging about? I've seen a lot of them recently, and I think they are so much fun. And I am super excited to be drafting it today. Hi, I'm Christina, and I love to digitally apparel pattern, creating fun and unique pieces of wearable art. And I especially love when I have fun and unique sleeves. And I'm super excited to be drafting this kind of Flutter long sleeve today. So I'm going to bring up my Illustrator board, and if you're interested in drafting along with me, I will link my half scale in the comments below. You can go grab it and start playing around digitally apparel patterning in Adobe Illustrator with me. So let's get started. I have my little inspiration picture over here to the side so that as I'm drafting, and I kind of reference it back and make sure that I'm kind of doing what I want to reflect that picture, as well as giving my own unique spin onto the pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just draft a center line. Just so. We're going to go straight down, intersect there. And that's going to be where we're going to really cut it apart and have the seam coming down that front sleeve, and then we'll have a seam going up the undersleeve as well. Or, ooh, that's an interesting. You could do it with a full circle and only have, we'll do that another time. We're not going to do that this time, but I love these types of sleeves, so we might do a little mini different things with them. So the next one we want to do is we want to figure out kind of where we're going to cut and get this little point of it to cut away. So we're going to draft another line. I'm going to go right there, go across. And yeah, I kind of, actually I'm just going to bump that up just a little bit. Yeah. Just like that. Yeah, I like that a little bit better, just so it's not quite as close to the elbow as maybe it would be. So then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to cut these guys apart so that I can be slashing and spreading them and they go to the correct sides and I'm not fighting with it later. And then I'm going to cut my sleeve apart like so. I'm going to cut that a little bit better. There we go. Awesome. So now I have my sleeve basically in 4 quadrants, and I want to do like a slash and spread, very much how we did the Flutter sleeve. If you want to see how I did the Flutter sleeve, definitely check out this video right up here so that you can see how we did just a basic Flutter sleeve. I love Flutter sleeves, they're so much fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually divide out the very top part of this into different sections to slash and spread it. When you're slashing and spreading on paper, you cut out your pattern piece and you have those lines designated equally across your piece of paper, and then you cut up but not through to that stitch line, and then you actually just spread your pieces apart. And on the computer it's even easier to do that because you're not having the accidental snip through your little tiny piece of paper that you're not trying to snip through. I love it. So where I'm going to go ahead and move that guy. We're going to go 1 inch. We're going to copy that over. We're going to do that again. Then we're going to send this going the other way. We're going to go -1. And we're going to copy it over and go one more time. So then I have 5 different places that I can kind of slash and spread out to. And I'm thinking, as I'm kind of pondering and looking at this design, I think what I might do is I might do like almost like a half full circle for this Flutter sleeve. We'll see how that works out. So it'll be one really long piece of sleeve, and I'm kind of excited to see how it turns out. But the other thing that I definitely want to know, because I want it to set into that arm's eye with very little gathering, I want to make sure that I don't change my arm's eye that is already there. because if you slash and spread that too much, you're going to have to be gathering it in. So we're not going to be doing that this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slash and spread that center line, because you want to work from the center out, especially when you're doing it on your computer. And I think I'm going to start by going 2 inches. So I'm going to grab all of those. I'm going to give myself a guideline first. And go in. I'm going to give myself a guideline of I guess 2 inches. And then I'm also 2 inches might be too much, but we're gonna give it a guess. And I'm just gonna rotate it up, because as I rotate all those pieces up, the line that I want is going to rotate up as well. So I want an about guideline of where those 2 inches are going to be. Then we're going to zoom back out. I'm going to double this front line really fast so that I have it going on both sides of my pattern. And then I want to make sure I grab one of each of those, and I want to deselect my guideline because that's what I want to rotate to. I don't want to rotate with the rest. Then I'm going to rotate this girl. Boop. It's about 2 inches right there. That actually might give me pretty close to what I want. So the next I'm going to do is I'm going to be rotating this next one out and over. So I'm going to cut along that line right there. Cut the wrong line. I want to select that one and make sure I'm cutting that one. There we go. Then I'm going to do the same thing, copy front. I'm going to use another 2-inch guide. Yep. So I want that guy, shift those ones. I want that one, that one. And I think I have all the pieces that I want. Oh, nope, not quite. I missed my little notch mark for in the sleeve. You want to make sure you have everything highlighted before you rotate. So now we're going to rotate on that point another 2 inches. I went to the wrong line. Undo. I want this one to go to that line. There we go. So I had it on the wrong line. Make sure it's on the correct one. So there, and I want that guy, and that guy. Have everything. Looks good. Now I want to make sure that I'm keeping this long piece still coming with the entire thing, because that's what's actually going to be going, that's the bottom half of your sleeve. So you can't leave that behind, because if you keep cutting that and leaving it behind, you're just making a huge flutter sleeve, which can also be really great. Very full, very fun. But we're making just the flutter sleeve up here that's really tight down there. So this will be the bottom part, kind of like the very long cuff. So now we're going to rotate. Doot, 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 doot. It's close. I'm eyeballing 2 inches. Don't tell my professor. We're going to rotate that there to check it. Pretty close. Pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. Then I'm going to move this one more time. I'm going to move it to the correct point that I want to be cutting this time, which is over there. And I guess I could have left this little portion right here so that it was marked better. But I'm not too worried about that, because I'm actually going to be cutting a little bit more of this flutter sleeve away up here to help with that little drapiness. So then we're going to paste that front. We're going to cut at that intersection. And then we're going to move it. Want that one and that one. And I actually need to rotate that a little bit more because I know I won't quite get it. And I'm hoping it'll get it almost to that full circle for me. And even if it doesn't, make sure I got everything, I might eke it there. Boom. So for this one, that's gonna be, we're gonna have to smooth that out some. So actually, what if I went half for that last one? Yeah, I was not liking how steep of a curve that is. You can definitely do that, no problem. But I think I'm gonna keep it a little bit easier of a curve right there and not go perfectly 90 degrees from my original one. But now we get to do the other side, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. So we're gonna start by here, highlight the sleeve, and we're gonna cut it apart right there on that intersect. And then we're gonna highlight and copy front, make sure there's 2 of those. And we're going to, before I do that, I actually need to reflect that one over that line because I need to slash and spread that center one open evenly on both sides. So I'm glad I caught that before I went too far. So that means we're going to be rotating all of that. And before I do that, I'm actually going to do I'm going to leave one dead center front. That will help give me a guideline at the very end and a grain line. There we go. We're going to rotate. Oh, I missed that bottom line. Gotta get them all. It sometimes is a lot. There we go. Now I have them all. Now we're going to rotate up at that point. Bam! My picture's gonna be in the way. So we're gonna move that over as well, just a smidge. And then we've already cut this, so I don't need to cut it again, and I already have a double there. So all I'm gonna do is highlight those ones and put a guideline. I'm forgetting to move my guidelines this evening. Don't know why, but that's half the fun. So now let's re-grab what I want. I want that one, and that one. And we're gonna rotate on that point 2 inches. Now this one, I want to rotate it the same amount. So I'm actually going to shorten that to there. And we're gonna copy paste that and use that as my final guideline. Put it down there. Let's rotate it so it's about out in the right direction. Then we do need to do our final little bits. Copy and paste that so that there's 2. We're cutting apart the pattern. And now we're grabbing everything. Those little T's are going to, got them. So let's do this once. Have everything. So then we're going to rotate. There we go. We got our basic sleeve. Ooh, I'm super excited about this. So we have the basic sleeve. So our cap is up here. We're gonna be smoothing all this out, and then we're gonna be putting it on. Ooh, I'm gonna be making this. This is gonna be so much fun. I love it already. So we're going to just add another layer. We're going to lock our original layer so that I cannot move this at all. And I'm just going to go ahead and go for the trace. Now, let's look at this. That looks like it's hanging down. Because in all honesty, what you could probably do is just have a nice curve right through here, and it'll give you that really nice flutter. Or if you wanted a little bit longer of a flutter, you could scoop it down just a little bit, which is what I think I'm gonna do, just to give it a little bit more length. But if you go anywhere past these original lines that we have marked here, you're gonna be overlapping this part of your sleeve. If you overlap that part of the sleeve, it's still a really fun design, but it's not the picture. So if that's what you choose to do, that is a fun way to do it. So we're just going to pen out this pattern. And then I'm going to just pop that up just a smidge, like so. And do, because that is gonna pop that up just a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. Then we're gonna go back and around. We're gonna hit here. And should have given myself a guideline there. But I think I'm gonna just go, whoops, right there. And around. And there we have. There's our basic pattern. Then we'll want to give ourselves some notches to make sure that you're lining stuff up the way you want. And I'm hoping that's going to give me enough fullness. Now that I see it, it'll give me quite a bit. But I am kind of tempted. So that's one. What I'm going to do, whoops. I'm going to grab this whole thing. We're going to do a copy front. We're going to do two different varieties, and we're going to see which one we like better. So I'm just going to grab this guy. I'm going to pull him down. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to curve that guy in. Kind of like that. So we're going to give him a curve. We're going to pull one handle all the way in and give him a nice little curve flutter there. And that way we have two different sleeves real easily, and we can see the difference between the two of how they will flutter differently. I am super pumped to try to get these guys out and see what they look like as I sew them together. So, but before I do that, I'm going to, is it right at that? Okay, so it's right there. But what I want to do, and now that this is gone, I'm seeing this is super sharp. So I want to go back and true up this pattern just a little bit, because that is super sharp. We're going to relax. We're going to relax that just a little bit. Because that will cause other problems. So if I pull that up there and give it a curve, let's fix those handles. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So I also want to make sure that I put some notches here and here. That way you know how far up the sleeve you're supposed to sew. Because if you sew not far enough or too far, you just want to make sure you have those guides. And I'm going to copy front them, and I'm going to doot. And we're gonna group you guys and move you up out of the way. We're gonna group you guys. That way, when I'm actually putting them on my print pages and everything, I have them fully grouped. They're not gonna fall apart. I'm gonna have those notches on there, and it's going to be grand. The other thing I have not done is I'm going to just drop a short little 2-inch grain line for me at both of those, just so you can line up and make sure that you are on grain, especially for stuff like this. If you are trying to cut it and you're off a grain, or you're doing something kind of funky, you might get some weird drag lines, so either be on the grain or the cross grain for this one specifically. There we go. Ooh, whoops. Oh my goodness, my mouse is moving on me. There we go. Got those grain lines on. I am super excited to be getting this pattern printed out and made. Definitely check back soon to see how I sewed it together and tried it on my little half scale. I'm super excited to see how it works, and maybe I'll be making a full scale one of it for me in the near future. You never know. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can see other fun ways to digitally apparel pattern in Adobe Illustrator and create some of your own pieces of wearable art. Make sure, if you're interested in patterning along with me, you look down in the description so that you can get your own half scale as well, so that you can pattern. I look forward to seeing you in some of my other videos. Happy patterning!